it shows that each Olympics and every athlete has the pressure. And I think it's a matter of how high you make it up in yourself. And here, actually, those Olympics show me that we on the other side and the media, I think we have a responsibility as well. This is what I see now. We should not jump on the wagon, saying, okay, he himself calls him the quad god. Yes, he is, he is. Okay, but we shouldn't jump on it and say, okay, he's capable of doing this and he will deliver.
Welcome to another edition of Milan Magic, a very, 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 how many varies can I say, special edition.
Yeah, more.
We happen to be in the ISU house. It's a fabulous location, great studio. I'm so fortunate. As a journalist, I get to cover the most amazing people and the most amazing events throughout my career. These two people are two of the greatest of all time to ever skate.
Thank you.
Olympic champions, just terrific, wonderful people. Of course, my co-host, Brian Boitano, and Katarina Witt, two-time Olympic gold medalist,
Thank
1984,
you. Yes.
1988 with
Yes.
this guy, and obviously one of Brian's dear friends and a
Yes.
good friend of mine as well. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. Exciting.
Well, we kind of had to, didn't we, Brian?
Well, I'm just waiting to start my laughing, my laughing with her because we have so many.
Well, people
things.
should know that.
Yeah.
You guys are just terrifically great friends. You've done specials together. You traveled. You see each other in Germany. Yeah. Where? Talk about your friendship. How did that begin?
From the beginning it
Yeah.
started. No?
Yeah. It began at the beginning.
In the beginning,
like-
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
No, I think it's for me it's something very special to have Brian in my life and as a friend, even though we don't see each other very often, but there is a bond, which is there where I know I can always rely on him, and I just realized it again. He's been giving such great interviews. I had a few documentaries on German TV on right now. And the best thing, though, is he knows story I have forgotten about it. So.
The joke is, I can make up something, and she's like, "I did do that," and I'm like, "I could
And I
make
would
up the most
believe it.
outrageous," and she would believe it because I do remember the stories about her better than she does.
But I'm such a big admirer of all his skating career, and how you continued and how you just stayed involved in the skating and then even came up with the best drinks as well.
Well, and after '88, you both came out. Obviously, you're the
Yes.
men's Olympic gold medalist. You're the women's Olympic gold medalist, two-time.
Yes.
'84 and '88. In both cases, great battle. I mean, the Battle of the Carmens,
Yeah,
Battle of the
of
Bryans.
Bryans,
What did that mean to you, Katarina, in terms of just like rocket fuel, launching you into this next stage of your life?
Well, definitely for me, winning the first Olympic gold medal made me realize how big the Olympics are and what a big, well-known name you could be afterwards. I always want to be careful now with being a star, because now these days it's really difficult being a star again because there's so much more pressure almost. But being introduced actually to the American audience, and by that time being compared to Brooke Shields, who there was a much look-alike, was for me, being so young, all of a sudden such a big explosion into the American audience. And then '88, then more pressure, but delivering under the pressure and becoming or winning the second time the Olympic gold medal makes me even more prouder once you get older. It's funny. And then you're here in Milano, and we've seen a lot of Olympics, and you always sit there and everybody talks about the pressure. And we both know how it is to skate under pressure and to deliver under pressure, and makes you then really being proud, sitting back and thinking, okay, now you guys, it's your generation and you do it.
What do you remember the competition? I'm assuming it was in Olympics. When you felt the most pressure, and explain when you felt the most pressure, what you did to deal with that.
Well, actually, I think I was even better if the pressure was higher. So my most important competition, of course, were the Olympics, but I always bring the example of Cincinnati, the Worlds in Cincinnati, '87, where I actually think technically that was my best program. And the thing was, we were 5 girls or 6 girls in the last group, and every girl had the chance to win that night. So it was really a matter of who is the best and second, third, and that would be the order afterwards. And everybody skated their best. Karen Davies skated great that night, and we had the Russian skaters, and then of course Debbie, she had the skating night of her life actually, and then I had to skate after. And I think almost if you feel like you're not allowed to give away one little inch, that made me stronger and more fierceful. And if I actually, and then I love to skate after my competitors. If I had to skate before them and sort of set the bar, that wasn't the strongest position for me. I always felt if I get more pressure and I have no choice than skating perfect, then I was best.
Yeah, so you rise to the occasion.
Yes.
Do you think that that's what Ilia Malinin was lacking in the other night when he didn't skate well?
Well, honestly, I really thought he will go out there and he will pull it off. Then through the whole night, men sort of trickled and fall apart. And you know how this is. Sometimes you have a night like this where from the beginning you have those mistakes, and it's weird, but it almost goes until the very last group where hardly anybody delivers a perfect performance, because sometimes I think it sort of triggers your mind, you're allowed to make a mistake. And I think this is the point when your mind tells you it's okay, and I think you're much more fearful when I gotta give everything I have. And with him there was a couple of different things. Of course, he could go in, and this is what we thought to God, he has a lot of space in between him and the others, and I have always seen him so secure. It never crossed my mind he could make a mistake, which then actually I said on air, now we see he's just a human being too. And that made him humble and made, for me, my heart go out to him as well, because you always thought, he's so reliable. And I think here maybe that was one of the things that he thought he is allowed to make a mistake. He doesn't need to be perfect to win. And maybe it's one of those things which he needs to know too. And then I think, yes, the pressure. I talked for the last few days with a few people, and I think for us, in a way, we delivered first, and then we became a star. And I think now these days, to be a star up front, and you keep seeing yourself in advertisement, you see the Instagram stories, everybody comes up and says how good you are, and everybody expects, of course, what you said yourself. Like Ilia said, I'm raising the bar, I can go better even. And I think with this expectation, the heights to fall down, it was just way too high for him.
Well, as you know, this is a conversation now throughout the Olympics, mental
Yes.
health
Yes.
and the issues. You guys had pressure. Of course you had
Yes.
pressure. You had newspaper articles, you had features in the news, obviously.
Don't forget the political situation this time. It was still the Cold War. I mean, I don't always want to come up with this, but the pressure from your country, to go out there and deliver for your country.
Pressure.
I
Your
know.
pressure was amazing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
for me it was a matter too. If I don't bring home the second gold medal, I knew I maybe wouldn't be allowed to do skating shows, wouldn't be allowed out of the country. So for me it was really a way of how my lives will continue afterwards by being able to do what I love and my passion. It had nothing to do with money, endorsement deals, or having a bigger value afterwards. For me, the pressure was if I'm allowed afterwards to keep skating, and that was for me the most important thing.
Well, that is bigger.
Yeah.
I think we can say that's bigger than social media pressure.
Absolutely.
Because that was
I
your...
think it's difficult to compare, and we shouldn't
Yes.
compare. It's a different
but-
kind of pressure.
but
It
that
just
was your
shows-
whole life,
Yeah, because
right?
that's why I think it shows that each Olympics and every athlete has the pressure, and I think it's a matter of how high you make it up in yourself. And here, actually, those Olympics show me that we on the other side and the media, I think we have a responsibility as well. This is what I see now. We should not jump on the wagon, saying, okay, he himself calls him the quad god. Yes, he is, he is. Okay, but we shouldn't jump on it and say, okay, he's capable of doing this and he will deliver. So it was us as well, for getting the ratings up, for getting people interested. I mean, even for me in Germany, anybody I talk to, everybody now knows Ilia, you know, and which is fantastic. But at the same time, it puts and you feel this as an athlete. You feel it, or you're really smart enough to pull out yourself of it. But hardly anybody does it. You see them, you know, they go through the village, they make photos, they deliver content themselves, you know. And for this, actually, I wish maybe they should pull themselves back and thinking, I'll do this all after I win. Then they're all interested.
A question. So the Blade Angels, for example, Brian and I talked about this on the quick hit that after as we're speaking, after the women's short program, and Amber Glenn in particular having a tough skate, great skate, and then obviously a bad moment, but. You know, that was not the press. That was U.S. figure skating. But they wanted that.
Yes.
Taylor Swift did a post. I mean, that's something they'll tell their grandchildren. That's terrific.
Yes.
But what it does is it then builds them up to something.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think we all get both the positives and the negatives of that. My question to you, what would your life have been like with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all this social media?
Truthfully, I don't go into the ifs. It didn't exist, so we had our time, and I think because of the way we grew up and the way we showed our sportsmanship and how we delivered under tremendous pressure, that's why we're still here. So maybe it's too short thought to think we have to use the momentum and get the best out of it now, but then don't deliver what was promised. So I'm always somebody, I rather deliver first, and then afterwards I live with the result. You know, I think now it's even more difficult. I mean, for Ilia, it'll be different. You know, he is the athlete still he was before, you know, and maybe and hopefully that it doesn't kick his mind too much, and he'll be back in 4 years. And if then, now we start again. If he wins, then he'll be the bigger star.
Exactly.
So we start already what we shouldn't. So, but I understand, you know, the athletes, they need the attention because they want to make a living out of it. And the sad thing is, most of the time only the winner counts, of course. You know, if you win this gold, then you have the most value. But then again, then win it first, and then you have the value, and then make the most out of it. So I think, yes, it's a fine line, and maybe because I still have this Eastern thinking in my head, so I'm not growing up with value and how big of a star you could be and how money is important for you. So I think I see both sides of the medal.
So speaking of pressure, what's your opinion of how the women as a group handled the pressure last night?
Well, you know how this is. As an athlete, you want everyone to shine. You know, you want everyone to do perfect and to show what they're capable of. Taking Amber, for instance, last night, you know, I thought after the triple axel, nothing can go wrong afterwards. I mean, it's this first jump which works, and then the next elements went right, and we were all like with the loop, you know, double the loop. I honestly don't understand it. I'm at a point I don't understand, and I'm even there like with our couple too. You know, it makes me upset. You know, it makes me as an athlete almost upset that I think, God, girls, guys, you know, you have trained, you know the conditions, you know what a competition is like, and please deliver. I mean, and you see it in the audience is right there. They help you through the mistakes too, which I think is great, but you see when they feel when they see a great performance.
The opposite, I think, of the pressure on Amber is, of course, Alysa Liu.
Yeah, yes.
And, you know, for those who don't know, she, of course, won the national title at 13, won the national title at 14. She was so little, Katarina, that they had to, second and third place, had to help her get up onto the yes, well, we'll send you those pictures.
Yes.
But then she retires at 16.
Yes.
She's done. She's unretires at 18, wins the world title at 19, and now is here. What do you
last year I saw her in Boston, and I
right.
thought she was just so incredible.
What are you seeing here? Of why, she's third,
Yes,
but
yeah.
she could. I mean, she's right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you see?
I think the placement here doesn't matter right now. I think at the end, and I think this is what's important when you go into the competition, not worry about the placement at the end. There is still some things as a skater you don't have in your own hands. The decision will be made. And the point is just, don't give them any possibility to deduct. So now you have to go out there and just give your best. It doesn't matter how the others do. Don't look right, don't look left, just give your best. And here again, I seem to trust her too, because I've seen her doing flawlessly, and I feel like she is, with her mind, she's right there. She enjoys what she does. She's concentrating at the same time. She just does her thing.
So what do you feel that we will probably? I mean, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but everything about Alysa says she's going to skate well in the free program, in the long program.
Well,
doesn't it?
I hope so. Everything speaks for it, But I honestly, I must admit, last night there were a lot of the girls or young women I really enjoyed. I mean, Alysa, she had the most difficult combination with the triple Lutz, triple loop. On the other hand, the others had, we saw a triple axel with Amber, and with Ami, she did a triple axel. So I think it is all very close, and everybody from the girls brings in their own personality. Again, with Alysa, she has her story, which is a different story than the other girls, because of how young she became successful, then she quit and she was off the ice. Now we again make the story big, bigger than the others. And I think we should look at equally all the girls who got here and are prepared and bring their own personality to all the technical difficulties. But at the end, yes, the jumps are counted because you got your point system and your levels. So that is important. On the other hand, I realized myself last night just enjoying some skating where I knew the jumps and the combinations are great, like for instance with Isabeau. I loved her. I really enjoyed the entire performance. She delivered her jumps, great landings, going out and into it, and her personality. And I was honestly a little surprised by the result, And then as an expert, I sit there and think, okay, why?
I'm okay. Surprised by the result. I was surprised by the result as well, and that brings us to
eighth, and that's eighth. By the way, eighth place for Isabeau. Although she didn't,
good.
I know she has a triple Lutz. She didn't do the triple Lutz. We're getting really inside, but that's the toughest jump, other than the triple axel. She didn't do that in the short, and it seemed like even with the Russian, early on, it seemed like they really were kind of like it's all about the jumps. And of course, in some ways it is, because there's value. And the value for Isabeau's jumps were not the same as some of the other women.
She
I
did
think
triple loop instead of triple Lutz.
so. I'm right. That's. I mean, but that shouldn't. I don't know that should be eighth place.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about this a little bit off camera, but with the Russian skater, I was a little confused with that result. And this is, I'll tell you, I feel like she has great potential. She has talent, but she skates like a girl. And I felt like everybody else was a lot more sophisticated, more quality of skating.
You mean like a younger skater, undeveloped skater,
like more of a junior level skater. But she does a quad, and that's really where the payoff is for her. But as far as I felt like she was ahead of like a couple skaters that maybe should have been ahead of her. I mean, but you
honestly, I didn't see her live yesterday because I came in a little later, which we know as skaters the last 2 or 3 groups are the better groups, which is not fair. You should see them all. But I watched her this morning on screen, and I must admit I really liked a lot of her skating, and I liked how she got out there. And we shouldn't forget, she on top of it has a different kind of burden on her shoulder too. I think it's great we have her here. She's a young inspiring skater. She has worked her entire skating life so far for the skating, and to giving this possibility for her to skate here. And then I even thought with the program, Don't Forget About Us, I felt she gave a little tiny message about it, don't forget about our young generation. We are athletes, and I think still the Olympic stage is something where we come together in a peaceful way, and we want to send out a message that we want build bridges and bring young people into an environment how we have it here, to go home and to talk about it at home, And so I thought that maybe it was a way of her, because starting in the beginning, because she has no points from the season,
Right.
she has no history, but they're giving her a chance by being part in the last group, because she has the capability of the technique. And this is what the system is now. How it was with the compulsory figures. We sort of had to work our way up while we were young. My first Europeans were, I was 13, or Worlds 14. And of course, I started 10th place and then moving slowly up. This is the nice thing about this pointing system now. You come in and you can win if you deliver, and yes, they made it more fair with the jumps system, that you have the value of everything. So I think what she does, though, she brings in, that we have never seen her before, or I have never seen her before, and she's new in the competition, and it mixes everything up, I think.
Talking about all this, what are your predictions, or what do you think that we can expect in the women coming up in the long program?
Yeah, because we haven't talked about the Japanese
yes,
at all, who, by the way,
that's right.
That's-
They
by
are
the way,
awesome.
they're fantastic.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Kaori and
Yes,
Ami,
yeah.
And
Mona.
Mona.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Mona, she was
Well,
great
it's
too.
like a Japanese powerhouse we
Yeah,
see out
right.
there. It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
And but honestly, I really not gonna look into the crystal ball, and I just wanna really enjoy skating on a very high level technically, because they're capable of, and it's great that they're capable of, and I look for the triple axels, and if they show it, and I think they will pull it off.
Yeah, Kaori reminds me of Katarina a little bit.
Yeah.
Kaori, she goes out,
Yeah.
she attacks it.
Yes,
she
yeah.
just goes. She's
Right,
so fast.
yeah.
She's so strong. She's so sophisticated, smooth. And she's a huge jumper. She just
Yes.
goes with everything. She
Yes.
reminds me a lot of you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And also, a
So that
veteran.
means she wins.
Well, unlike you, Brian and I are two goofballs who, on our quick hit
She's
the
a
other night.
goofball too.
Well, right,
Yeah.
but you're a smarter goofball or something, because we
No,
went ahead and predicted,
no.
We did predict.
and we both
you did.
predicted.
Let Kat guess our
Oh,
prediction.
okay.
Oh, your
you
prediction
guessed our prediction.
for the guys? You had a prediction
No, the women.
for the
Women.
women.
So,
for the
we
women
were
last
right.
night.
We agreed on the gold.
Yeah.
So
We
you
did.
guessed
Ah,
who
you
we
agreed
picked.
on the gold. Okay, so you
Yes.
thought probably Alysa is second. Yeah, that was your prediction. Alysa second.
Yeah.
Yes.
And your prediction third was.
We were different on this
We
one.
were different on this one.
Yeah,
You
because
were different on this one.
I was more cynical about what the judges, are telling us with their marks. Well, that's okay. I went with Petrosian. I thought that, yeah. Now again, if she's doing a quad,
Yeah.
Same reaction.
I know.
Ah.
Maybe I don't know as much as I think I
Yeah.
know.
No, but
Yeah.
it's good. That's the
Yeah.
reaction that you
Yeah.
want.
And then
And then I went with Ami, the girl
Ami,
who's in
yes,
first, because
yeah.
she's 17.
Yeah.
She finishes off the night. It's a
Yeah.
hard skating order
It
for a
is, yeah.
17-year-old, but
Yes,
she'll
yeah.
still skate well.
Yeah, and she had a great program. I even thought, though, for her the music was too big for her again. I think it was a great choice, The Last Dance, and
Yeah.
but.
No, you're thinking that's Mona
Oh,
was
Mona.
last
Oh,
dance,
I'm
but
sorry.
she's,
Oh,
and
sorry.
she's
Yeah.
my spoiler.
Yeah.
She's like meaning spoiler is like someone who could come in and upset the whole thing.
Yeah, because she skated so well and she was so
Oh, she's
delightful to
amazing.
watch, but
Yeah.
at the same time, and I thought the music was
Yeah.
fun, but this is like one of those things again where I feel you really have to smart about seeing somebody, how you're built, how your capability of speed is, and then what the music choice is to it. Because sometimes if the music is bigger than what you deliver, of course you can fake it with this a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, and the audience goes with it. But for us as skaters, you see, oh, I need more energy.
But Ami, who I predicted
Yes.
for third place,
Yeah.
if she does that triple axel,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Oh
And
God,
she-
yeah,
right?
She was skating in the second
Yes,
last
yeah,
group.
yeah.
No, she had a great program with the triple axel.
Yes.
No, and I loved her program.
Yeah,
yes,
me too.
yeah.
I thought it was cute.
Well,
Well, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
could
And-
really talk for hours.
Well,
but
we could.
can't.
And
Thank
I mean,
you.
can I just say, it's covering both of you in 88.
Yeah,
I covered the Battle of the
thanks.
Carmens. I covered the Battle of the Bryans. Gold medalists and champions that day, all these years later. If it's possible to say this, you're even better people
Oh,
and better
thank
champions,
you.
terrific athletes. And
Thank you
you know,
so
thanks for
much.
even just hanging out with a journalist. Jeez. Thank you, Kat.
You're part
Thank
of
you.
our family.
I'm honored to be here.
Yes,
International
yeah,
Skating Union
yeah.
has allowed us to be here, Kat.
Thank
Thank you,
you. No,
Katarina.
thank
Thank you
you.
so
And
much.
that's a
Brennan.
wrap for Milan Magic for this episode.